You are listening to the Curtis King Podcast.
Grab my headphones. Acting like a rookie.
Hello and welcome to the Curtis King Podcast. Thank you for joining us first and foremost. If you're listening through the streamers or the distributors, thank you for joining us. I don't know how you found the podcast or if you've been following already, but either way, we are thankful. We are grateful to have your presence here. Please take the time to leave a review, especially if you like the kind of content here that we have from music producers specifically, even though we kind of go through some wide-ranging topics for creatives in general. Thank you first and foremost to those people. And then secondly, thank you to the people that are on YouTube that are watching the video version of this. The video format does present its own interesting features as well. So if you're ever on YouTube, come check us out, subscribe, hit the bell notification, and then come check us out there. It's a little bit different than what we've been already doing earlier this year, because obviously through the COVID-19, precautions that we all have to make, I had to have my videographer kind of sit this one out for a second, just until things kind of get back into shape. But that being said, I hope everybody had a great weekend. This is sort of a late edition. My son woke up super early, and these are usually my wife's work days at home. And so my son woke up super early, and, he had a speech therapy class. And so had to make sure that I showed up as father in that situation and did what we had to do. But he woke up dummy early after sleeping in the bed with us for the first time. And I had feet in my mouth getting kicked in the face. I had him just obsessively giggling out of nowhere in the middle of the night at 3 a.m. And it was just like, okay, this is a bad decision. I'll put you back in your bed. But nonetheless, I still want to make sure that I knocked out this podcast, especially because, we have sponsors now. I got to make sure that we continue to sing the praises of our friends over at DistroKid. Thank you once again, DistroKid, for sponsoring, empowering this podcast. For those of you, and I see some people who are leaving comments about things that are going on with DistroKid that maybe you have taken issue with or something that's going on, what you got to understand first and foremost before we get into our spiel, I am just an affiliate, okay? I don't own DistroKid. I'm a big supporter of DistroKid. I believe in them. I use them for all my distribution needs. But some of y'all be coming to me with questions that is meant for the customer service line at DistroKid, and they're there for you, especially now that people are working remotely. So hit them up. If you don't get a response back, give it some time. Hit them back again. They'll get back to you eventually. It's what they do, especially if you've been sent from my direction. But got to say that first of all. Let me go ahead and fix the camera a little bit. It's kind of throwing my OCD-ish ways off. But outside of that, this weekend was a fun weekend. And basically what it entailed was, as me as a music producer, not even music producer, as a beat battler, I had my second competition this month after a long hiatus from doing any beat battling. For whatever reasons, maybe I felt like I didn't love the sport anymore. And I genuinely look at it as a sport. Beat battling is without a doubt in my mind a sport, especially if you can look at chess as a sport because it's a game of strategy. If you can look at bowling as a sport, because that is a game of practice, repetition, and skill. And so I believe, I'm not comparing beat battling to that, but it doesn't really require us to be supremely athletic to be in it, but it is a sport. And this last Saturday's beat battle, to me, was what the sport is all about, or what it was about when I first started doing it. Me versus Oh Gosh Leotis, which if you have not checked that out, please bring yourself over to my YouTube channel. I'll leave a link in the description. Please go check that out. If you've ever wanted to know what a beat battle looks like, from two people who have been very seasoned in the beat battle game, just look at that video. And then look at the comments and look at the producers that walk away from there feeling inspired or feel like, oh, this is what you meant when you said beat battle. Like, it is just an unrelenting, consistent energy of just confrontational music and music that is just meant to make you bring the best out of yourself. It's not loop over loop over loop over loop like, oh, that'd be a dope thing to make a song over. These are not beats generally that are made for songs. Obviously with me and Oh Gosh, we go unquantized. We go swing crazy, and we went swing crazy within that battle. And that to me was just, we both love the sport. And I was talking to Oh Gosh after everything was over with, because the real goal of that wasn't just to battle. I mean, me and my brother can battle anytime we want. And it really, in all actuality, he gonna always get the W, because all he got to do is play one of my songs. And he's like, I produced almost 99% of your songs in the last 12 years. So like, chill out. If it really came down to that, he could play Listen to Me and I lose. And so that being said, that was more than just a battle. That for me was an opportunity for both of us to show, to highlight a culture within the music producer sector that doesn't often get highlighted, and it's rightfully so, because there's not a lot of video footage on that kind of battling. There's a lot of beat battles out there on YouTube, but the kind of battles that I came up in, the ones that I say, yo, in my side of my book, The Prosperous Hip Hop Producer, when I talk about battles that made me a better producer, a better man, a person more prepared and skilled in moments of pressure, and your heart going crazy and you're feeling nervous, you have to make a decision. Those are the times that made me my best, having to go against people like himself, or my brother Captain, or folks like J Biz, or DiBiase, or just so many folks that were from this region that were just beast. And still are beasts, but within that particular time period when beat battles were very, very prevalent in the area that I was staying in, which was the IE area, specifically Riverside. And so that battle to me, man, it gave me goosebumps being in something like that, because it's one thing to when you getting your ass handed to you, right? And that could have very well happened if I didn't come with beats that are like making me have to become a different producer, not even a different producer, a better producer within myself, and a showman. But the pressure, the excitement of, I know he's getting ready to bring something that is going to elevate this entire conversation, this entire competition. Knowing that was going to be a fact, there's no letdowns. You get just as excited to hear the competitor's music as much as you already know, like, yo, I can't wait to drop this and see what you guys think of it. But shout outs to my homie, my brother, Oh Gosh, because of that, we were able to also promote his drum kit, Oh Gosh Drums, Drum Kit Volume 4, which is out now on slapexperts.com. And I ended up using his drums for the majority of the beats that I battled him with. So once again, another win for Oh Gosh. But that was man, maybe you could see it in my little giddy laugh, my little girlish laugh, and all my excitement. But that was the most fun that I've had in a long time. Before quarantine, during quarantine, that was the most fun I've had in a very long time. And I got to say shout outs to him. Shout outs to all of you guys that actually came to watch it live, or those that watched on the replay on YouTube. Really appreciate all of you. And just thank you for showing so much love. So after that battle was over, I started taking a Q&A, and it started to make me want to bring a concept here to the podcast today that I think a lot of folks can relate to right now, because a lot of beat battles are starting to happen. Shout out to the homie Vapor God, he's someone that I met through social media who is throwing his own battles. Obviously, we know the big mainstream major battles are the verses by Timbaland and Swiss Beats. And obviously that is his own realm. That's more to me like the industry perspective of battling. And it still holds so much value because you just saw RZA in Premiere. When would you ever see a battle like that unless we were all locked down at home? You know what I'm saying? Like that is just outrageous to even think that they could even be sitting in the same place and battling like that. But that was amazing. But shout out to folks like the Vapor God. Shout out to, all the folks out here that are throwing their own impromptu battles. Now there's more opportunities for producers to challenge themselves in a new way. And I got asked a question when I jumped into my Q&A about how do you prepare for a beat battle? How do you know what beats are ready for a beat battle? What is a beat battle beat? And so I wanted to take that topic here because I know there's a lot of you out there that are like, yo, this is very new to me. I've seen it before, but to know that I can actually be in one, I kind of want to be prepared. So let me prepare you for somebody who's been battling since, 2005, 2006 maybe. at Lamert Park. Like, I've been battling for quite some time, and I took a long hiatus off when I kind of got away from that end of things and wanted to go more so to the industry. But what I compare my transition to is, there are people who are meant to be legendary street ball players and pretty decent above average NBA players. I don't want to put that tag on my man's because, he's doing something I can never do. I can never play in the NBA first and foremost. I'm Curtis King. I ain't gonna do none of that. But Rafer Alston, a.k.a. Skip to my Lou. If you bring Rafer Alston up around NBA circles that are not familiar with his street ball legend, they just say he was a pretty good player. He's a pretty solid player, played for the Houston Rockets and I think another squad, but he's a pretty decent player. But if you ask about Skip to my Lou out on the basketball court, it's like, yo, you do not want to play with that dude. Like, you do not want him coming up the court and a huge audience is around because you're getting ready to get embarrassed. It's just, what is he going to go ahead and pull out and embarrass you with? Is it the Skip to my Lou signature move? And so I compare my time in that arena as like it has its own legend in itself. Not calling myself a legend, let other people call it that. But everything from the Red Bull Big Tune battle to all the LA battles, to the IE battles that I was in, it was something that it brought something different out of you. It made me a better performer as an artist because I had to get in a place where we're just playing beats. What life exists within these beats? How can you use sounds to make people excited? Right? Because obviously there's some showmanship that goes into it. You may call it dancing. I call it showmanship. Shout out to the homie Captain, who really I feel like is a pioneer of that. But it's showmanship. It's what makes people who are listening to instrumentals see different things. Like the homie Willie B has this thing where he'll kind of like put his finger out in the air and then he'll like punch in the air every single time another note is hitting. And so now you're noticing instruments that you wouldn't have noticed unless you're a producer, that are occurring in the beats, and you're seeing drops and you're seeing them kind of do like the hammer hand when the kick comes in. Like all of that stuff really brings out another element in it. But first and foremost, how do you prepare for a beat battle? What is a beat battle beat? To me, beat battle beats, they have an element of surprise. They have an element of contrast between something like really, really soft or really bright and something really, really dark, usually the drums or the 808s. And then also third, they have some familiarity. Not every single beat has to fit this criteria, but I have seen that the most successful beat battlers have found ways to do that, right? I believe that the man's name is Dirty Rice. Please don't quote me on that, but this dude who had like a Family Matters flip, and he really made his name out there on YouTube some years ago. He was in beat battles and he had that element of surprise. He had that element of familiarity. Find a sample that people recognize and then flip it in a way that they never would have guessed. So when I think about a beat battle beat, these are not songs. And I have the attention span of probably a child when I'm sitting here making the beats, not making the beats, but I'm thinking of what the listener feels on the other end. If I feel like the listener is going to get bored, and it's only 1 minute beats. If I feel like the listener is getting bored, I'll switch it up. I'll add some kind of drop, right? I'll put it in places that you never would have expected. And then as you're listening, you're like, oh my gosh, oh, whoa. That's your goal, right? I remember facing the homie DiBiase. He would do something where we have 3 switch ups within a beat in 1 minute. He would take a Ghostbuster sample, switch it one way, flip it around, flip it to another drum rhythm, and then flip it one more time in that last 15 seconds. And you felt like you got beat by 3 beats, but it was always the same beat. These are not beats for songs. If you play beats for songs, you'll have a certain segment of the audience that's like, yeah, that's dope. But if you find a way to speak through your beats, that's why I use a lot of like clips, a lot of audio clips, people talking shit, because you get to speak through them. And it just makes it like, oh, fam, you got embarrassed. Oh, man. And this is what makes it so exciting, because you never know what that other person's going to play. And that element of surprise is something that you can't ignore. The familiarity. That's why when I was going with Oh Gosh, I had to think of the strategy. Like, how do you prepare for a battle with Oh Gosh? You don't try to, oh gosh, oh gosh. Oh gosh is going to give you these crazy, these crazy breaks of musicianship, these crazy sound design techniques and things that obviously he's been working on that for years. You're not going to just beat that in a week. That's not the strategy. That shouldn't be the strategy. It's almost like saying, I'm going to muscle Shaquille O'Neal, or let's make it more recent. I'm going to muscle Zion Williams. Like, I'm not going to muscle Zion. Zion outweighs me by I don't know how much. You're not going to muscle him. So you better beat him with a skill set, or not a skill set, but an attribute that you possess that he does not. Maybe it's your quickness, right? Maybe it's your long range shot. Maybe it's just your ability to out dribble him. Whatever it is, you have to use that. So with oh gosh, I approached it like, okay, he's crazy on sound design and he's crazy with everything. But one thing he doesn't do a whole lot of, and I was thinking to myself, I was like, he doesn't have a lot of samples that are like, yeah, I know that one. I know exactly. Like, a lot of the samples he chooses are stuff that he's into, the video game culture. And I guess it is pretty popular, but I had to come from an angle that was like, what is a sample that you never would expect, but everybody knows it? And so I just started going through my database in my mind, trying to think of different samples. I tried a Prince flip. That didn't really go according to plan. I just tried a bunch of different things. But I'm telling you, as I was sitting there making these beats, I went into such a zone. And part of the preparation for that zone, for those days that I worked on beats, I was in here, I was musty. It was musty in this room. I can't even front. But as I was in here, part of the preparation was a light breakfast. I know that has nothing to do with music, and you're probably going to get so mad at me if you're not used to Curtis King. But a light breakfast was everything, because I'm not having to overwork my body to digest. I'm not overworking my mind. In fact, what I'm able to do is come straight in here, get to work, and let my mind focus on the work at hand. So a light breakfast, what does that look like, Curtis? For me, 2 eggs, piece of toast, Bulletproof iced coffee. Bulletproof iced coffee is a brand called Bulletproof. They have these cartons of coffee, iced coffee that is specifically with these pure what is it? What are they called? The coffee grounds, the pure coffee grounds they're created with that are specifically to support your brain function. A lot of entrepreneurs use it if you research it. It has like this buttered coffee, this buttered addition to it that is just like it's fat, but it's fat for the brain. It's called brain octane. Try it out. Between also I would take these On It pills, and this is not something I'm saying that you should do every single day. I'm just saying for days that I need to zone in, that was my first meal, and I would work, and I kid you not, I felt like old boy in the movie Beautiful Mind. All the numbers are moving in such crazy formation, and I was just looking at the screen and I was thinking of nothing else. The phone was off. I wasn't distracted. I was just in that zone, because you know that your back's against the wall and you got to show up for a battle. Love battling. In fact, the epiphany that I had at the end of this journey, these 2 beat journeys, was that was that I was more a beat battler my entire career than I ever was a typical, or not typical, but a standard producer or industry producer. I was always much more a beat battler. That was my natural essence, and I got away from it. So naturally, what I'm into right now, what I'm doing right now, is the work that I'm so grateful to be back into. I'm so grateful to jump back into beat battle. I'm so grateful to have something besides slap experts, besides just my family life, that makes me supremely excited to want to run inside the studio like a little bitty kid. That makes me, oh man, it fills me up. Last thing I want to say about the preparation, and this is something I talked to my private community at CurtisKingUniversity.com about on Sunday, is that I say this mantra when I come into the studio, and it's my everything. And at the same time, it's my nothing. And it's going to make more sense in a second. I say, I am nothing and I am nobody. I am nothing and I am nobody. I can't come inside the studio and think of myself as Curtis King, and I have a reputation to uphold. I am a producer, damn it. I've been working for I don't know how many years, because bad days can happen to anybody, right? Subpar weeks can happen to anybody. So I come in here from a place of empty yourself so that you don't have ridiculous expectations upon something that ultimately you think you control, but we don't control. Right? Do we control when we get a headache? Do we say, you know what? I got to get my daily headache. Please give me the headache. We don't. But that affects our work. Do we affect when things happen on the outside that are out of our control? No, because they're out of our control. So we have to readjust to it. That being said, anytime that I can sit down at the laptop and even just open up FL Studio and I tell myself I am nothing and I am nobody, I start to feel really freaking lucky. I start to look at that screen and realize this ain't owed to me. Nobody has to give me this, right? I am not owed the opportunity during a quarantine where most folks are scared for their well-being. I'm not owed the opportunity to sit here and slap together one shots and open up, virtual keyboards and put sounds together. I'm not owed that, right? And the nerve of me to want to battle somebody during this time. We need to come together, Curtis. You're right. But I feel lucky. And then I start to see the abundance in my life when I empty myself. Because a lot of the things that I think we associate with our abundance, or we associate with, this is why I'm blessed. It's not actually the reason why we're blessed. So I think that's really, really an important factor in all of this. But you tell me what you think, how you prepare for beat battles. If you have any other advice, let's go to a quick break so that we can talk to our sponsor, DistroKid. Music producer, something I talk about pretty frequently is the necessity of having multiple streams of revenue as an independent music producer. Not only for when you're actually producing, but what about those days after you stop producing? You got to make sure that you have streams of revenue that are going to live on even further than your current career. That being said, one stream of revenue that I think gets often overlooked is music distribution, aka streaming. Getting your music on Apple Music, getting your music on Spotify, etc., etc. Now, the number one spot that I go to make sure that I distribute my music properly and ensure that I get my music to every store possible is DistroKid at DistroKid.com. I know you've heard me speak about it multiple times on my YouTube channel, but I gotta tell you, there's a reason why it's the number one that I go to. For $19.99 per year, I can upload an unlimited amount of music throughout the year. As producers, we make an abnormal amount of music in comparison to songs that get created, so it's important that you use this as a consistent stream of income. If you'd like to sign up to DistroKid today and get your music to every major distributor, go to distrokid.com/VIP/Curtis King to get 7% off. Okay, thank you once again, DistroKid, for powering the Curtis King podcast. So look at the topics here on the board, and I'm going to kind of fly through a few of these because I want to end on a really positive note and something that is going to hopefully encourage you as you start to adjust in this time that is definitely asking for you to pull out something different within who you are. I want to make sure that I leave you with some positive words on that. But first and foremost, congratulations to Curtis King University. We have officially reached a 1-year date. 1 year we officially reached that we launched Curtis King TV. And one of the biggest blessings of my life, to be able to talk to so many of you on a personal level, to be able to meet with you for 340 hours plus in that first 6 to 8 months, to still have a place that hosts all the things we did, plus all of my courses, plus to actually have an online university dedicated to the same type, not the same, but an extension, a more extensive, I should say, database of the information that I have learned and have used and still using in my career, to be able to have a place where you can go and you walk in and it's like, yo, where do I start? That's amazing to have that. And it's amazing to have the support of folks like BusyWorks Beats, who contributed the course. Speaking of BusyWorks Beats, let me throw this out here. He texted me a few days ago, I think before the battle, and he said that he wants to be my next battle. So be on the lookout for some more promo coming up for that. BusyWorks Beats versus Curtis King. I'll repeat, BusyWorks Beats versus Curtis King. It's coming. Side note, last thing before the last thing, the fun of Slap Experts. Slap Experts has been by far the funnest business journey that I've ever been on, funnest creative journey. Oh Gosh just released his drum kit. The homie Nabian's getting ready to release a massive melody pack. Obviously, there's going to be something free coming really, really soon for the producers who are in here, because it's not our goal to try to drain your pockets in a time where we should be saving money. And so we're going to have things up on the website that, of course, are not going anywhere. They're going to be up there, but I want to make sure that I shed light on just the amazing work that they're doing. Navi and Ogash, YLM, and Aaron Barber, crazy on the keys. Yeah, everybody, man. The homie Nicholas Gray, he's in those Voxes that you used in Slap X. Everybody's just doing a bang up job, and I'm very proud. Spence, who's been somebody that I met in the Curtis King University community, he became my assistant. I finally have an assistant, or have had an assistant that has just been responding back to your emails, getting back to your inquiries, and making sure that we do it in a timely manner without me getting completely overwhelmed, because I know very well how to overwhelm myself. And I know myself a lot better now than I did, I say, last year. But yeah, man, this is such a fun journey because I'm doing business with the folks that I love, and it's not a stress to them. We're literally just going in there and saying, hey, who's next up? Okay, hey, can you contribute this amount of sounds? Cool, let's put it out. And to be able to have the respect of folks that we look up to in the sound design game, like the D-Caps, or, like the homie Simon Savita, and, folks, Larry O, and those folks who have been rocking with us, man, that's just, we feel amazingly blessed. So shout out to them. Shout out to you guys who have been supporting and using the free sounds. And I'm grateful, supremely grateful for all of you guys here, guys and gals. So thank you. Last thing I want to start off with, I have noticed the more that I've been doing live streams, I started to notice a lot of sort of the dialogue that comes with how I answer questions from producers. And it's mostly younger producers, so I don't want to put everybody in a box, but it's mostly younger producers that I get questions about, and they all have a underlying theme that connects them all. And what I have quoted this as is having a reactionary grind. There's a quote by Tony Robbins that I've never explained because I resonated with it so deeply. I thought it was self-explanatory, but I think some people are missing the point and why a lot of my answers sound the same. The quote goes, winners expect, I'm sorry, what is it? Yeah, that's what it is. Winners expect, losers react. I might have switched that around, but he said basically that losers are reactionary, and those who are deemed as winners prepare. They prepare. They already feel the anticipation of things coming on. So that is not the exact quote, but that is the gist of it. So I want to explain that in a way that makes sense and relates to music producers, because I feel like a lot of the issues that I'm hearing about what sounds are the hottest, what should I follow, should I have just one sound, Curtis, what do people want, all these things that you're asking about, right? I had even people say, like, are sample beats still popular? Or all these questions that you ask are questions that you ask from a place of insecurity. If we really want to dig into it, it's from a place of reaction to what the market is telling you. The market wants this. I'm going to follow that. And there's a lot more failure stories than there are success stories from people who do that. Why? Because everybody does that. Everybody looks at what the hottest thing is, follows it, put their whole reputation on the line for it because they think it's a great money-making opportunity. And then they sink their entire ship off of a whim, right? Off of, I think that's it. And I think that using other people as a model for trying things is the wrong model altogether, right? Winners prepare, losers react. Losers are always in a place where they're reactionary to everything that's going on. Yo, Curtis, man, are beats dying off? People are not going to buy beats during a pandemic. I do not. Why? Why do you say that? Because I saw so-and-so said, why are you listening to so-and-so? Why are you not talking to your customers? Because he's more advanced. Why are you living your life through somebody else's lenses? That is where experience needs to come in. And I think a lot of producers have a reactionary grind that puts them in a place where you're going to always play catch up. Do you ever sit back and say, yo, when am I going to lead? When am I going to try something and then be able to document it and talk about it in hindsight and say, yo, that really worked for me. And this is why I feel like it worked for me. When do you get in a place where you take chances? When do you get in a place where you say, you know what? I'm going to stop letting this YouTuber or this producer that I saw in a 1 hour interview with Breakfast Club, let them be the captain of my ship just because they sound convincing. I just think that's a dangerous game to play. And it doesn't feel dangerous because, what's the worst that can happen if I follow somebody that's successful? But the thing about it is it's a slow killer. It's a death by 1,000 cuts because you're going to follow micro advice from people who are in a temporary mindset, a mindset that says, yo, this is what's working for me right now. But that's likely to change, right? Think of all the things that you used to hold on to as like almost like Bible verses, like that is the gospel to you. And then you've changed that within the last 6 to 8 months because you were exposed to something else. Don't get so married to concepts and married to what this person says, that you forget, like, yo, at some point in time, you got to take the lead. When do you take chances on yourself? So there's so many questions that I get that all come back to that reactionary grind. Instead of worrying about what sound is the sound that is popping off, what sound is going to get me paid, what sound do rappers want? Instead of doing that, I would much rather, if you're going to do research, which I've suggested before, talk to the rappers that are the ones buying beats. Find them. They're on social media, especially right now. Find them, talk to them, get on the phone with them. Right? Just have conversation, get on the email, do something, have a conversation with them though. Figure out what they're saying. Right? Because you may be listening to a producer who's telling you this is what rappers want, and literally their business is crashing in a way that you can't see from the public eye. Just because it's shine don't mean it's gold. So I would much rather you talk to your actual audience and see what they want from you, because more than likely, it's a lot more simple than what you think it is. And even then, do you really want to have your entire career be ran by somebody who may be indecisive? So I think what it comes down to, even beyond that, because some folks are going to just use that, what it comes down to beyond that is this. Find what you love. Do what you love. If you want to make lo-fi stuff, you make lo-fi stuff. If you want to make nothing but trap bangers that sound like they came out in 2006, understand there's going to be limitations in terms of selling beats. And then again, maybe not. Maybe you're a throwback page. Maybe that becomes a new market within beat selling. Nobody knows until you take a chance with it. You can't wait on somebody else to say, I think that might be a good idea. You think it might be a good idea? Yeah, I think it might be a good idea. You can't wait on that. Because more than likely, the person saying, I think that may be a good idea is not your buyer. There's somebody selling something to themselves. And they're still trying to figure out why their customers act the way they do. We don't know why human beings do the things they do all the times. But what we can do, and what I feel like is best, is that we prepare. We prepare ourselves to have the best chance at longevity. And the best chance at longevity is not always being in a place where you feel like, oh my God, okay, gotta do this. Okay, this is hot right now. Okay, let me do this. Gotta do this. Because I've done that. And this is obviously a biased point of view. I've done that, and it put me in a place of unhappiness. It had me figuring out equations that made somebody else happy, and it had nothing to do with my own happiness. The happiness that I find right now, I'm not pursuing placements. The happiness that I have right now is focused on just beat battling, man. And as silly as it may sound to somebody, you guys are battling me. What does that look like? As silly as that may sound to somebody, it brings me intense joy. As much as people may think that art is dead, it brings me so much joy to do it. And I would suggest you find the joy first, because if you find the joy, it's going to birth the content. It's going to birth your message. It's going to birth a new reputation for you, for being known for something, for the guy that loves doing what he does, or the woman that loves doing what she loves. But find something instead of always reacting. This person's doing this, I'm going to start doing that. And that may require you going ghost from content, from stuff that you watch on a regular basis. You may have to go ghost to find yourself. I did it. And I came out I came out in such a different place, and I could not be happier. And I just want the same thing for you. So make sure before you start asking questions, ask yourself first, am I being reactionary? Because if you're being reactionary, chances are that is the first issue that needs to be addressed. Thank you for watching another episode of the Curtis King Podcast. Once again, if this is your first time listening, hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully we talked about topics that pertain to you as a music producer. We're living in a very interesting time, but beyond all of the unfortunate and just dire news we're hearing, it's producing some amazing acts by some amazing human beings, medical workers that are out here that are saving lives, the folks that are in charge of enforcement, all levels of it, the folks that are the ambulance drivers, everybody who is responsible for the well-being of human beings. I'm thankful for you. We're given the special opportunity to be in our homes and really think about what we want our lives to be like. And I hope you're making the most out of it, or just getting the rest that you need, because a lot of y'all work your ass off and you should get your rest. So hopefully you're making the most out of it, and that includes rest. But thank you for watching and listening today. Please leave a review, leave a rating, share it with somebody that will be into the same kind of topics. Make sure that you leave a comment below on something that you really resonated with, some advice that you have for producers that are getting into beat battles. And yeah, man, keep on rocking with me. We're going to keep these things going. Shout out to the sponsor, DistroKid, once again. Like I always say, in this life, you will not be full of life until you decide to live life to its fullest. Once again, it's Curtis King of SlapExperts.com. Have a good one.